When severe weather strikes, aging electrical infrastructure fails. Entire communities find themselves cut off from the primary grid in freezing conditions. Prolonged outages strip away modern conveniences instantly, forcing households and survivalists to rely on portable gasoline generators to run critical medical equipment, to preserve food, and maintain heating. This transition to emergency power introduces a fatal paradox. Highly competent individuals who actively try to ventilate their generators are still routinely dying of asphyxiation. In the aftermath of a storm, people rely on familiar safety heuristics. They crack a garage door open to let the exhaust out, or set the machine outside a partially open window to keep it out of the rain. These intuitive choices often fail because they ignore the strict physics of fluid dynamics. Safely navigating a prolonged outage depends on understanding exactly how these invisible gases move and interact with the human body. The threat begins with the physical properties of the exhaust itself. Portable generators produce carbon monoxide, or CO, a completely odorless, tasteless, and colorless gas created during the incomplete combustion of hydrocarbon fuels. People tend to equate a generator's engine with a passenger car's engine, but their designs are vastly different. Modern vehicles are mandated to have a catalytic converter integrated into their exhaust line. This component acts as a chemical scrubber. As the engine runs, the converter actively breaks down deadly exhaust gases before they leave the tailpipe. Portable generators lack this technology entirely. They vent raw, unscrubbed exhaust straight into the atmosphere. Without a catalytic converter to chemically scrub the exhaust, a single gas-powered generator can emit 100 times more carbon monoxide than a modern car engine. This immense volume of toxic emission is continuously pumped out under pressure, allowing the gas to flood an adjacent enclosed space with terrifying speed. Treating a portable generator with the same safety assumptions as a car engine drastically underestimates the scale of the chemical threat. Even when placed outdoors, a generator's exhaust is subjected to the complex aerodynamics of the environment, specifically how wind currents interact with residential structures. Wind does not flow in a clean, straight line past a house. As moving air hits the solid barrier of a home, it creates distinct high-pressure zones on the windward side and low-pressure eddies on the opposite side. This diagram illustrates the aerodynamic effect. As wind strikes the structure, it creates a leeward recirculation zone, a swirling, low-pressure vortex on the downwind side. Computational fluid dynamics data shows how dangerous this becomes. The low-pressure eddy acts as an aerodynamic trap. Exhaust pools entirely within the swirling vortex. This data exposes the 15-foot fallacy. Placing a generator 15 feet away provides zero protection if it sits inside this trapped zone. Once gas pools against the wall, pressure differentials actively suck carbon monoxide back into the home through microscopic leaks. This pooling effect also ruins the myth that an open garage bay provides adequate ventilation. The heat generated by the engine creates a thermal plume, which mixes the carbon monoxide evenly throughout the space. Data shows that even with the massive bay door completely open, concentrations inside the garage still spike over 2,000 parts per million. Placing a generator outside is a meaningless distinction if the machine is caught in the home's invisible leeward trap. Once inside the home, carbon monoxide proves exceptionally lethal because of its physical properties. It is slightly lighter than atmospheric air, meaning it doesn't sink. It rapidly diffuses and climbs, mixing into every corner of the living space. To understand why it kills so quickly, we have to look at the mechanics of human respiration. Normally, oxygen molecules enter your lungs and bind to hemoglobin proteins inside your red blood cells, which transport the oxygen to your vital organs. The biochemical failure is driven by affinity. Carbon monoxide molecules have a binding affinity 200 times greater than oxygen.
Carbon monoxide aggressively locks onto the hemoglobin receptors first, completely shutting the oxygen out. This chemical reaction forms a lethal compound called carboxyhemoglobin, effectively ruining the blood's carrying capacity. Pulling back, this graph illustrates the secondary systemic damage. Carboxyhemoglobin causes a leftward shift in the oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. What that shift means is that even if a small fraction of oxygen enters the bloodstream, The corrupted hemoglobin refuses to release it. While other gases might simply displace oxygen, carbon monoxide functions as a chemical hijacker, systematically seizing the body's internal transport system at a molecular level. The destruction doesn't stop at blood asphyxiation. Carbon monoxide also operates as a direct cell-destroying metabolic toxin. This diagram shows a cross-section of a mitochondrion, the power plant of the human cell. The highlighted protein is cytochrome C oxidase, the critical engine of the cell's electron transport chain. Carbon monoxide molecules bypass the blood entirely and bind directly to the heme moiety of this specific enzyme. This exact binding action halts aerobic metabolism entirely. It instantly stops the cell's ability to synthesize ATP, the fundamental energy currency required for survival. For high-energy organs like the heart and the brain, the consequences are catastrophic. The sudden halt in energy production triggers an inflammatory cascade and lipid peroxidation, leading to the rapid physical breakdown of the brain's myelin and nervous tissue. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a dual-front biochemical assault. It starves the blood of oxygen while simultaneously destroying the cell's underlying ability to process energy. Reconstructing the timeline of a grid-down fatality reveals why self-rescue is so rare. It begins with a survivor starting a generator in a semi-enclosed space, like an attached garage, relying on the assumption that natural airflow keeps them safe. The immense emission rate of the unscrubbed engine, combined with the thermal plume of the exhaust, floods the localized breathing zones silently within minutes. As carboxyhemoglobin levels rise, the first physiological symptoms appear: a dull headache, weakness and dizziness, and mild confusion. In the stressful aftermath of a severe storm, these signs are almost always misattributed to disaster fatigue or a cold. Because the chemical binds 200 times faster than oxygen, the hypoxia accelerates rapidly. The aggressive saturation induces sudden syncope, complete unconsciousness, before the victim even realizes it. Because human senses cannot detect the gas, and the subsequent biochemical shutdown is absolute, the window for identifying the threat and executing self-rescue is zero. Operating a generator during a disaster is an industrial procedure. It requires strict adherence to physical science, leaving no room for assumptions or intuition. This property map outlines the absolute baseline rule for placement. A portable generator must operate at a minimum distance of 20 feet away from any structure. But distance alone isn't enough. The placement must actively account for prevailing wind direction. The unit must be positioned upwind so that the exhaust blows into open space, completely bypassing the home's leeward recirculation zone. Furthermore, the physical exhaust port of the machine must be pointed away from all structural intakes, windows, doors, and vents. Operating the unit inside an unattached garage, a shed, or even under a covered porch is not a safe alternative. These structures restrict airflow and create the exact same lethal pooling effect as an attached garage. Because you cannot see or smell the exhaust, the only viable defense is the installation of redundant, battery-powered carbon monoxide detectors throughout the living space. The math is unforgiving. A machine that emits 100 times more carbon monoxide than a car, generating a gas with a 200 times greater biological binding affinity, equals zero margin for aerodynamic error. True survival protocols aren't based on what feels safe. They are based entirely on neutralizing the invisible physics that govern your environment.